question we typically face, Chirag, on the field. Uh, Mostly the partners generally they face that during the bull phase right now, where partner feels they feel sorry client feels that a PMS will be able to give me more returns than a mutual fund kind of a products or portfolio. So I'm sure you also must be facing such kind of a question. So what do you think, I mean, as an advisor, because they can sell all the products, so what is your advice to them that how what should be their strategy when they actually get the questions? Because we have notes explaining that why not PMS, why mutual funds, charges, everything that we discuss with the clients also. But of course, there are temptations that a client is asking for PMS. I'm sure your client also must be asking, "Kya PMS ही लेना है मेरे को?" Because market is looking good. So how do you basically get him back to the our strategy?
So I think first things first, whether it's PMS or any other product, we do a solid filter in terms of what products to include in the portfolio, and we use 5 parameters. I think which should be with all our advisors should use, which is very important, which is return, risk, your liquidity, taxation, and cost. If there is a reasonable benchmark on these all these 5 parameters, and if the product passed through these filters, is when we'll be also looking at those products. So for example, let me compare PMS to mutual fund, like you rightly said, right? So returns, at least you should give me more returns than Nifty, good benchmark. So mutual fund bhi deta hai, kabhi koi PMS bhi deta hai, fair, tick. Then you talk about risk. Now when you look at risk, you can look in terms of absolute terms, or you look in terms of relative terms. So in relative terms, let's say the beta, if Nifty's beta is 1, we see that the product's beta should be not at not more than 1 at least. So when you compare mutual funds to equity, or at least our model portfolio is 0.85% beta, whereas the PMSs, most PMSs that we have audited, we have seen that the beta is very high, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. So the volatility is high. Liquidity, of course, both of them have their liquidity. Taxation, it's not very tax efficient. Like mutual fund is so tax efficient because it's when you sell, you are paying long-term capital gains of 10%. But because PMS is in your demat, every year if the portfolio manager churns the stocks, then you are paying the tax for it. So people don't calculate that deferral tax that you would get, and the compounding impact of it is huge. And last is cost. Like you rightly said, the one benchmark that we have kept is that the cost of the product should not be 15%, not more than 15% of the return expectation. So if 15% is my return expectation, it should not be more than 2-3% cost. But when you look at most PMSs, one is the fund management fee, then you have setup fee, then you have profit share. So all of that post tax, post fees, it doesn't justify the kind of risk that you're taking in that product. Because if you're going in PMS, ultimately it's more concentrated. So am I getting that risk premium? If I'm getting mutual funds 14%, if I'm not making 20-22% on a PMS by taking all these kind of risks that you have taken, then it just doesn't justify. Is why we have not included so far. I'm not saying we are averse to PMS or we are averse to real estate. We have to pass through these 5-6 filters. Real estate is illiquid, right? I mean, I'm saying all 5 tests have to be passed. So that's where we look from a product perspective. Now coming back to specific to PMSs, like I said, the answer is, you were also mentioned, is in the review, in the audit. See, we can talk about English, so many things I can talk, risk, return, etc. Ultimately, the idea is in the number itself. So if you review the PMS, if somebody is having that PMS, we've just started an audit department on PMS. We audited close to 600 different PMS. And you know what was the outcome? 50% of them have not even beaten Nifty. And that is not a specific period. These are actual client portfolios they would have bought at several different points in time. So when we checked, 50% of them have not even beaten Nifty, and 94% of them have not beaten Anand Rathi portfolio. Then why do I need a PMS? Why do I go into that complexity? Is why that's how we've kind of zeroed in on explaining to the client that you need to do the math. And 50% is also right now a small number, because in this period when the markets have done well, any advisor have passed na kuch bhi diya ho to market upar gaya. But if I just back test it to March 23, this 50% number was almost 70% number. So not even beating Nifty, which is like a layman, right? Kuch nahi karke Nifty mein paisa dal sakta hu. Without asking an advisor, without talking to anyone, I can make money in Nifty. So if it's not generated alpha over Nifty itself, then it doesn't make sense. And that's how we've been able to show the math to most of our clients, and is why we have also kind of avoided PMS so far.
very important thing, tax. People when talk of returns of PMS, nobody says what is post-tax. It's all pre-tax. And everybody's situation is different. So he rightly mentioned, I think, tax is one thing which has to call tax and cost, both are obviously will make that product. If it is a good product, why won't we do it? You know, for us, actually, we will make more money in PMS, and as advisors, perhaps you will make more money in PMS. But our belief is that in long term, if you are not taking care of interest of your customers, he will understand someday. कि आपने AIF में लगा दिया, यहाँ लगा दिया PMS में, आपका पैसा ज़्यादा बन गया. Okay, I think that is what my suggestion to all advisors is. Our philosophy has been very clear. We don't want to do anything at the cost of the interest of the customer, and that's why we have from beginning. We tried PMS initially. We tried all products. Okay, and finally we have come to this conclusion based on experience which we have gathered over the years. We have tried the best of the, we had a PMS of PMS. Okay, we tried that also, the best names which were there in the market. So I think our product selection as a part of a strategy is based on huge amount of research. You know, I think you may all be aware, we have almost a strength of 150 people to look at the research of various products. So even if you don't sell, we will research that product to see that, because if we have to decide a strategy for the interest of the customers, we need to be open what is available in the market and what will benefit our customers. So that has been our criteria, that's why it's not there. So you need to be, sometimes we have a tagline to say that many times customers may know what they want, but they may not know what they need. I think as advisor, our job is to give them very candid, frank advice as what they need in their portfolio. And that is been our hallmark. In fact, we are able to tell clients, this is why we want to do it. We'll go and convince on our mathematical models, all supported by numbers. So, and our experience has been that if you do that, customers get satisfied. Sometimes easy option के भाई customer का वही कर लो, अपने क्या जाता है, अपने तो पैसा ज़्यादा बन रहा है. But we don't believe in that approach. अपने को objective अपना आज पैसा बनाना ज़्यादा नहीं है, अपने को long term अगर पैसा बनाना है तो customer का long term अच्छा पैसा बने रहेगा तो अपना बन नहीं है. We are bound to gain if customer gains. That has been the reason for our philosophy, which we have been doing it for so many years now. So I hope this answers this question on various products.
I think, like sir said, and most of the times people spend a lot of time on what to do. If you just spend time on what not to do, most of it, often and not, you will be better off. I think that's what been our experiences. So कहाँ क्या लेना में ही ज़्यादा time जाता है. What क्या नहीं लेना अगर पूछो तो automatically you'll get the answer. I think that's what we've been able to tell our clients.
I completely agree with you. And Chirag, you spoke about 50% portfolios have not given the alpha. That's what you said, right? In fact, recently I met a client who had made investments into PMS, and I asked him about how have been your returns last year. He said returns तो बहुत अच्छे मिले. मतलब कितने मिले आपको? He said 27%. I said sir, Nifty ने 29% दिया है, तो आपके 27 कैसे अच्छे हैं? So most important thing is that yes, they don't beat the Nifty, and even client is not aware of it. So many times we realize this client को भी पता नहीं है कि उसने alpha दिया है कि नहीं दिया है. So I think this review which Chirag spoke about, I think that throws a lot of light on his own returns versus the markets,